there was ever going to be a year that defense wins championships, I think we are approaching that year. It's something, Sack, that I've held in my head for a long time, that like at the end of the day, in the NFL, offense is king. Having the best quarterback is king. And I kind of look at this year's playoff field and I'm like, well, maybe that's true overall. Maybe that's true historically. But I think that we could see a scenario where Sam Darnold, Bo Nix, CJ Stroud, all these dudes do is take care of the ball, make good decisions on third down, and then they wake up in a Super Bowl. Because even right now, Zach, would you say there is a dominant NFL team? I think you'd maybe give it to the Rams, but even the Rams have looked pretty fallible.
Yeah, I mean, if you made me pick, I'd say the Rams are probably the team that any other NFL team is the least excited to face. But compared to seasons in the past where there have been just some complete juggernauts, I think it's probably the flattest season that I remember seeing.
And I mean, so like we have Lamar officially not in the playoffs, right? We have got Mahomes obviously officially not in the playoffs. I mean, it really should be the Bills' year. I mean, I don't agree with the Chess Liam bull posting of the Bills, but he is directionally accurate that if the Bills roster was any good, that if they had like one, like, dude, I mean, imagine Juwan Jennings on the Bills right now. You'd be like, oh, easy AFC Super Bowl favorite. But like Shakir has, he's got like these awful yards after the catch numbers. The defense like cannot stop anyone on the ground. And this whole time, Zach, have not been sold on the Denver Broncos. But I'm like, what AFC team is going to really punch the Denver Broncos in the mouth? They have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So it means like Drake May goes there. He's playing in the cold. It's like, I mean, and the Patriots, I was totally out on the Patriots as a Super Bowl favorite, early. But why can't of course the Patriots can win the AFC? Like, why not?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty Patriots pilled. A lot of the sharp people out there that I follow that do team power rankings are very Patriots pilled. So I think this is as good a season as any for how everything lined up. And the fact that they got healthy at the right time, like they just got Milton Williams back. He played in week 18. So it's not like, oh, he's going to be back. They get Campbell back as well. And he plays in week 18 also. So that game to like get your studs back, have them shake the rust off, beat the brakes off of an inferior team, just kind of a little tune up before the playoffs. I do think it bodes pretty well for the Patriots. Now, I feel like a lot of people are looking past the Chargers, like, oh yeah, the Patriots are going to walk through the Chargers.
They're only what, 3-point favorites against the Chargers? I mean, that's you're on the knife's freaking edge there.
Yeah, no, it's a little surprising to me because the power ranking stuff that I've looked at across a number of different sharp people have that a lot closer to like a 5-point. So I wonder if that moves more to the Patriots side throughout the week. But yeah, I do think that the Chargers are not some pushover or anything. They will not go quietly into the night. Bills Jags is pretty interesting to me, just with how much of a wagon the Jags have looked like lately. And to go back to your Bills point about, if they just had a Juwan Jennings, if they had a Juwan Jennings and removed the lobotomites that were calling plays for them on offense.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got to get Joe Brady out of the building.
Yeah. I mean, dude, the Bills have just done such silly stuff. Like in the Eagles game, the fact that the Bills are like, you know what we should do? The only thing that's really been working for us is putting extra offensive linemen out there on the field and just running into the teeth of them and just playing bully ball. And then the Bills are like, you know what we should try? We should try going 180 degrees in the opposite direction in a monsoon and go for our most pass-heavy game plan we've done, really get away from our identity as a team and not lean into the run. It made no sense. It was like they were trying to play a game to like get the Eagles' best personnel off the field. And it's like, it doesn't really matter. Like, very cool galaxy brain move to try and like get the defensive personnel that you want. Doesn't matter if you can't take advantage of it though. Like if you also are playing your worst personnel, right. And don't think getting Tyrell Shavers and Brandon Cooks more snaps is really the answer to being a successful offense. So I love Josh Allen too. Like I think that with a better framework around him, it'd be so easy to see the Bills just absolutely crushing this AFC playoff bracket. But yeah, I'm pretty concerned there for them. I have a relatively big Bills fade. I've been getting more Josh Allen and James Cook lately. I mean, the game, there should be a lot of points in this game. So it is a fun one to attack, even if you're playing, either side is a one and done. But yeah, it's going to be a very fun playoff bracket this season.
It's the only total above 46.5. I mean, maybe the relatively interesting thing here is that basically all these games outside of Rams Panthers are roughly coin flips. I mean, you can weight the coin one side or the other. You wouldn't bet your life on the Texans or the Steelers money line. You wouldn't bet your life on the Chargers Patriots money line. You certainly, I mean, I tell you what, I certainly would not bet my life that the Eagles cover 4.5 against the 49ers. I mean, that to me, that feels like a flat 3. I guess the 49ers defense is really banged up, and they're banged up in a way that the Eagles can take advantage of because theoretically they can just do these long gashing runs. Obviously, when theory comes into practice with the way that Barkley's played this year, that becomes much more difficult. And then Bills Jags, I mean, it's like, I think I probably will take the Jaguars side of that. And then Packers Bears is like, you could tell me literally anything happens in that game. You could tell me Malik Willis comes in at halftime and has like the greatest half anyone's ever had. You could tell me that Caleb Williams doesn't complete a pass in the first half and the Bears still win. You could tell me that this game goes into like 3 overtimes. Like literally, I think anything can happen there. And then we do have Rams Panthers where I would be stunned. And then to that point, 6 weeks ago, the Panthers just beat the Rams in a game. In an actual National Football League game, the Panthers just beat this team. So, like, who knows?
Yeah, we have seen the formula for this from the Panthers, and it was to shorten the game and crank up the variance and just hit 2 bomb passes on 4th downs for touchdowns. And so that's the way it could happen. I think that the Rams are going to be up for this game, though. I haven't seen anything yet. I'm assuming later this week we'll get more news on it. Have you seen anything on Devontae Adams' availability?
They said he's available.
Okay.
I saw an update this morning saying he's expected to be available. The Rams injury update that seemed a little bit larger to me because of how I've been drafting is that Terrence Ferguson missed on Sunday with the hamstring, and that wasn't like resting him for the playoffs. Let's let Higbee get back. It was no, he actually hurt his hamstring and is actually injured, which means that in my remaining drafts, I'm probably going to be like way more likely than average to click Higbee and Parkinson than an average drafter.
Yeah, we do have Ferguson with some probability of missing a playoff game or multiple in our sims. I was waiting on the Devontae Adams news just to like get a practice report of him, to have him more confident to play. Right now, we've got a small probability that he misses week 1 of the playoffs. Just because a hamstring strain, even if it was a grade 1, like still could have had him miss based on when he injured it. So that's one where probably as soon as we see like, hey, Devontae Adams practicing in full, I'll go ahead and remove that injury risk from him in the sim. But yeah, it's going to be. I think that the Rams should take care of business there. The Panthers have really not looked great lately. They play Panthers ball, and I don't think the Rams can end up getting had by that twice.
I would be surprised. I mean, they looked vulnerable against Atlanta. They actually looked a little bit vulnerable against Arizona until like Stafford started, fully cooking on the tight end stuff. I think Higbee and Parkinson each got over 15 fantasy points. So shout out to them. But I have not done a DraftKings draft. Shout out to our friends over at DraftKings for sponsoring us on the channel this week. I did some mittens. Oh, I got to log in again. This has really been tilting me recently. And I know this is my own fault for my, for the way, because I do everything on Brave browser, but I've been getting logged out of everything recently. Have you noticed any big changes in the rooms this morning?
This morning, I didn't get a ton of volume in this morning. I got a lot in last night after I ran the updated sims. it seemed like last night was a bunch of times when I'm running stuff after a full slate of Sunday games and then I jump in the rooms, there's a bunch of people in there that aren't really, paying much attention. And like it feels like it's easy pickings at that time to draft normally. Last night, it felt like all the sharks were out. Everyone, was in there like drafting teams that made sense. Not a lot of dead players. I did get a couple in the DK Millie here where there were people that I think I had a guy that still took Ravens after the game. So that's always fun. But yeah, it felt like last night was when the Sharks converged on the contest and started trying to pile in now that the bracket was set. So very glad that I got some volume in early, but I do have to say this draft window feels really good. It feels like you can get, a big team stack of what you want with pieces that make sense. There's times when you'll collide with other drafters and you end up just, having to make the best of it. But I do really like this draft window. I'm getting a little bit of like Panthers and Steelers at the end of drafts now, where there were windows before where we'd get some Steelers. Basically, never we're getting Panthers. They just they only have a couple players that project for any kind of points that you'd really like. But when you're doing like a Patriots thing, and you've got a bunch of the Patriots bum receivers where it's like maybe this guy catches a pass, then getting like a Tet McMillan over a Kyle Williams at the end can be pretty appealing to help you advance out of a 1 out of 6, even though, as good as Tet is, like it's just hard to trust the Panthers to provide useful fantasy scores for you. So it is nice to have some of those different round 1 advance rate pieces to tack on, just because it helps your portfolio be a little bit different. Not all your eggs are in one basket of like, oh boy, I really hope Luther Burden nukes, or, oh gee, Christian Watson better go off for me. So it is nice to spread out the bets a little bit there.
Yeah. Zach, I'll let you answer this question. Are you still taking CMC 102 with the 49ers 13-1 to win the conference?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's a probabilistic thing, right? Because
I will say I still am 100% of the time, because in the scenario, this is my thinking, the scenario where the 49ers win that game against the Eagles and you are below market on CMC, you're just gonna hate your life. You're just gonna be like, well, fuck.
Yeah, sometimes you'll get CMC here. Sometimes I'll even get Drake May to come all the way up here. And sometimes you get James Cook here or Barkley. So it is, I think that in this first round, the ADP, you really can just kind of throw it out as long as you're not getting too far off the board. Any of these are pretty reasonable picks and ways to build. But yeah, CMC just projects for so many points. He will be the running back that projects for the most points. He's probably going to be the player.
He's going to be the player that projects for the most points every round that the 49ers are playing. That is inherently valuable. So one, you can use him we could use him as an advance rate when you take him to. Don't take Kittle, don't take Purdy, don't take Jennings. We could use McCaffrey to advance shitty Packers players, right? We could be like, okay, well, we think the Packers are going to beat the Bears, and we don't think that game's going to have a ton of points. Or we could use McCaffrey to advance Patriots players, right? We could use McCaffrey to advance Chargers players, but I just know he is a really and I've talked about this with Corain, but this year is a huge departure to every other year that we've done playoff best ball, because we think that more than 5 teams can win the Super Bowl, which drastically changes quarterback prices. I feel like people have kind of already forgotten this, but basically for most of the time that we've been doing playoff best ball, we almost got McCaffrey Cook.
That would have been very cool.
Yeah. Oh shit. All right. Yeah. So we do George Kittle here. And we are going to, actually, the guy behind us, this will be interesting to see what the guy behind us can do, because he can take and should take Kyron and Adams, but I wonder what he will do in terms of AFC stuff. I would assume
ETN makes sense, but I would not take it here. I mean, I think you're just trying to play into Jags later.
Yeah.
Maybe trying to push Devontae Adams with any potential injury concern and see if you get him to come back with the Q tag.
Nico, other side of the bracket, AFC.
Yeah,
Like, would you?
Nico's
Yeah,
kind of the dream because it fits really well to have 49ers with Texans because, a big complaint about the Texans is like, oh, they're not going to score any fantasy points. It's like, okay, well, how about I get the tight end one and the running back one for every game that they're both going to be active. Those both will be the players that project for the most of their position. And so you get, 2 rounds out of them. And then you've got the Texans into a conference championship game. And all of a sudden, the threshold of points you need to score to actually advance is much lower. And then you can get a Texans Super Bowl, which, by the way, is not like so unreasonable. Texans and 49ers both have about the same probability in our sims to show up in the conference championship game. And then from there, it's just, whoever they end up facing. But I believe the Texans are most likely to face, it looks like Denver. Denver first, New England second, if they show up in the conference championship game.
Spider-Man pointing meme.
And it doesn't seem that crazy to say, yeah, the Texans could beat Denver, or yeah, the Texans could beat the Patriots, right? Like, I think both of those teams are mortal specifically to the kind of game that the Texans want to play.
Yeah.
Bo Nix looks great when he's not pressured, which has been kind of the Broncos' MO all year. Like, Bo Nix never pressured, like he's able to work from a clean pocket and just distribute the ball. But you put him up against that Texans team, and all of a sudden that might go out the window. So I like the Texans with the 49ers specifically because of the way that like the team's scoring profiles match up. And you're not all the way down in the basement of like Panthers or Chargers or Pittsburgh as far as like the probability to actually make, the conference championship game or make a run.
So this guy behind us is really unlikely to take Purdy because he's setting up the Trevor Lawrence thing. Do you want to take Jennings here? Do you want to take an AFC piece, or do you just want to not get sniped and take Purdy?
I think I'm fine to take Jacobs to really kind of secure our round 1 points. Packers also pretty decent chance at making the conference championship game, making a run. This could easily be a Packers and Texans score relatively low points early. Only way to get them through is CMC Kittle. And then in the later rounds, not enough people even have Packers and Texans as big team stacks. And you're just able to advance by the simple fact that you have a lot of the best players on those teams that are still alive.
Yeah. Do you have any CMC cooks? I don't think I do. I
don't think I do. I've only seen someone get a chance at that, maybe a handful of times. I saw someone pass on a Josh Allen CMC, which seemed crazy to me.
Yeah, correct. All right, there we go. So we do get. Oh man, this poor guy to our left. So we actually should keep our eye on this. He's probably going to go Chargers, but this guy to our left doesn't have a quarterback. He got snapped on Lawrence after trying to do the Rams things. So if we decide that we want to take Stroud, we should think about that because he would be liable to do what I guess he could do Schultz and Stroud at some point or whatever. Who are some of your favorite advance rate pieces? Like you're just like, oh man, this start is so sick, and I like want to tell the computer like, give me a couple extra smidgens of advance rate here, like round 11, round 12 type stuff.
I mean, you can get. There are some rooms where Christian Watson just goes like virtually undrafted and falls to very, very, very late. Like I've gotten him in the last round on Underdog before, and I've gotten him pretty late on DK as well. So he's a pretty nice one. Ramondre was free prior to scoring 3 touchdowns yesterday. So I believe Ramondre is my most drafted player. I'll pull that up just to verify. But we were talking about it in the leg up.
Feeling pretty good about that after watching those games yesterday. I wonder if he might be pretty up there for me because the 49ers and the Patriots are my 2 most drafted teams. Shout out to Kevin, by the way, who got second in the afternoon only rush yesterday. He said, I think he was fucking with me, but he said that he set his lineup on Wednesday and forgot about it. And it had the aforementioned Ramondre Stevenson on it. So So shout out to Boomer Kev on that one. I don't know if I've seen anyone use the 50 Memby feature before. So shout out to Kevin. Good shit. Wow, Jennings made it all the way. So I did not think we would be able to do this.
Yeah, and so now we can get Jennings, and then I think we can probably get Marks around the turn as well. And now we'll have all the best 49ers, all the best Texans, and we probably can get all the best Packers. Now the Sims are like, oh, dude, if you get to the 49ers Super Bowl, you're going to have the absolute stones. Let's just get you Ricky Pearsall. So we can go ahead and do that.
I consider Ricky Pearsall like an absolute must on this, because you want to build out the whole thing. And now I want to take Gadsden and Schultz on this one, probably, because I want to give myself like all the possible outs to like the nutted 49ers Super Bowl. My favorite advance rate piece, by the way, on DraftKings, and I don't even think it's close, is Gadsden. Like if you can just tack on Gadsden, beautiful. It's just like that is exactly what you want, because he's like the perfect, can get 20 in a game, can contribute in a flex. Like we just mentioned, they are literally like a weighted coin flip against the New England Patriots. I also think it would behoove them to throw in like that game. Like if we're just thinking like 1 week, like DFS type stuff. I mean, aren't they going to be like one of the most dropbacks of any team this upcoming wildcard weekend?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, so it is nice to have, basically, if we make it to a 49ers Super Bowl, we're going to be set. And then the fact that we have Metcalf and Gainwell coming up basically makes it so whichever way the Texans game goes, the Sims are kind of nice where they're able to balance and weigh this stuff way better than a human brain, where in the past we'd have been like, we can't take DK Metcalf or Kenneth Gainwell because we already have Nico, and that means we're going to guaranteed lose one of them. And what the Sims are saying is, you don't care if you guaranteed lose one of them. You just want to make sure this gets out of round 1. And then when you get to round 2 with this, guaranteeing that you have that threshold of points, you have a minimum of either DK Metcalf or Nico Collins, is enough to be so strong in the second round when the 49ers have won, that you just have a juggernaut of a team. And so it's basically like finding those thresholds that you need to clear in each round. Like, hey, this is about what your opponents are going to be able to show up to the party with. You just need to make sure you're better than that. Like no one comes out and pays you bonus dollars for beating your pod by 30 in the next round. You're just trying to make sure that you clear them.
Thoughts on just taking Schultz here before? Because I don't think
we'll be able to get Metcalf back. Yep. That's
well, I'm also curious so once we get Nico and Schultz, I am curious.
Okay, so it probably would have gone up to Marks if Marks was still there after you took Schultz. Yeah. But yeah, because Marks was gone, then I think it's still like, and getting the Metcalf in there again is just building that floor in. For future rounds.
I think this is going to be the first time that I take a Steeler. I don't think I've taken a Steeler yet. So
there was a draft window earlier where we were hitting Steelers pretty good down when the Ravens were down to like, their last breath. We started drafting Steelers a little bit. So all of those as advance rate pieces aged pretty well, which was nice. And the big Ravens fade definitely aged well. First year, I think, in 3 seasons where I faded the Ravens, like every playoff basketball season, I've been super invested in the Ravens almost every year. And so this was the first year of being on the other side of that. And I got to say, watching the Ravens Raven again, it hit different this time.
It's just really interesting. Wow. Can we get a real-time response from Zach on him receiving a Davis Maddox Slappy Central Memby while he's on the Davis Maddox stream? That is legendary slap side. That was a very funny moment. Yeah. Is Jawar Jordan getting recommended by the Sims at all?
I don't think he's getting recommended, but he is in the Sims. I don't think he will project good enough to get recommended.
All right, so it's telling us to take Rodgers. Hear me out. If we take Wait, did Stroud already go?
Stroud got taken.
Oh,
Yes.
Stroud got randomly taken. Okay. I want to take Warren and then see if it still wants Rodgers.
Yeah, you can take Warren. It will still want Rodgers, but I feel like there's no risk of getting Rodgers taken by this guy on the turn.
Yes. Yeah. Well, all right. Man, Aaron Rodgers in real time. Folks, if I win this contest with the Steelers one, you're going to know where you were, and you're going to know what was happening when I drafted it, because it's really unlikely. I would be hardcore IKBing these on my own. I don't think I'm going to let the kick tell me to take any Steelers on my own time, because I think all of your points I think all the points are true. I think, like, mathematically makes a ton of sense. With this Texans Steelers setup, we are like almost like guaranteed to be getting some round 2 points. We're going to get, like, it's a super concentrated offense, all that stuff. The thing that is so hard for me to take about the Steelers is I would put their chance of advancing from a given AFC conference championship to the Super Bowl at 0%. I could see a world where they Mike Tomlin ass their way into the AFC conference championship, but I think their Super Bowl game equity is 0.
Yeah, I think it's pretty unlikely that the Steelers actually make the Super Bowl. But again, for this team, like,
God, can you fucking imagine Rodgers? Just 2 weeks of 41-year-old Rodgers. Just kill me. Kill me now instead of making me deal with that.
yeah, that feels pretty disgusting. Almost as disgusting as having Jonnu Smith pop. I do want to say there was 0 chance that Jonnu Smith was ever going to pop up in the Sims for us before the Darnell Washington injury, and then we had to adjust it and give Jonnu somewhat of a pulse. I'm disappointed in the Sims that they didn't recommend Freiermuth over Jonnu, but it does mean that they're working, that it's not always gonna say Freiermuth over Jonnu. Also, kind of crazy that Brian Thomas Jr. is still here in the very last round of the draft.
Yeah, I think I would rather take him. That gives it. Well, okay, there you go. He went. I was gonna say that gives us another. That would have given us another Super Bowl, Jaguars 49ers, and would have given us. Although, I mean, how many points is Brian Thomas Jr. really gonna score in the wild card round?
I mean, I was telling, or Pat and I were talking about this on a show, but we basically have Brian Thomas Jr. and Parker Washington as Spider-Man meme with their ranges of outcomes. They're slightly different, but they're a little close for comfort.
All right. Purdy, McCaffrey, Nico, Jennings, Kittle, Jacobs is the advance rate piece, Pearsall, Schultz, Metcalf, Warren, Rodgers, Jonnu. Honestly, in my heart of hearts, I maybe would have rather taken Tonjes there just to have gotten a 6-man 49ers Super Bowl and not having to rely on the Texans.
The other thing for the Steelers is they just haven't been drafted in the vast majority of the contest. And so when you do Sun Run and the Steelers win and you show up to round 2, you're like the only person with Steelers. And, it's worth something. It's not worth a ton because they're not going to be some of the highest projected players or anything. But having all of those live spots on your roster, where Texans have been drafted basically the whole way, people have always been taking Texans. And so we'll end up with a couple dead Texans from Nico and Schultz, which, to be honest, we'd prefer to have those players live in our lineup in the second round anyway, because they'll project for more. But as kind of a self-hedge on that lineup, if we make it to round 2, we should make sure that we have sufficient firepower to be able to get out of there, as long as we manage to get San Francisco in as well.
Are there any players that you are light on right now that you're like, man, this guy going off is a disaster for me?
A big Josh Allen nuke would be quite bad for me, but it's in the context of a big Josh Allen nuke with also none of the other quarterbacks getting close. Because even if, pretend Drake May scores within 8 of Josh Allen, it's probably okay, because the players that the Josh Allen drafter had to forego to take Josh Allen can pretty easily gap, in the 2v2 to make up for that point difference. So big Josh Allen nuke would be bad. Let me look at pull up my my top exposures here, just so I've got it. Um,
I think for me, a round 2 JSN highest wide receiver score is bad. Because I'm gonna end up about even with the field on Seahawks stuff, but I know like early on I've been a little bit light on JSN because frankly I'm still just not. If Sam Darnold beats me, he beats me. I mean, sometimes you got to tip the cap. I know their Super Bowl odds are completely outrageous, but I don't know. You know what? The last 2 games, the Week 18 game and the game against the Rams, he did his job, didn't really make any huge mistakes. There was no big, laugh out loud, LOL Darnold stuff, but man. Yeah, and you know what? I am super light on the Broncos.
See, I got a bunch of Broncos early in our, I've been drafting since the contest came out with pretty decent volume in every window. So I've got a good amount of the Broncos from early and then did not chase them up at all. So the nice thing about it is my Broncos teams will be easier to advance. I think overall I'm relatively light Broncos. I'll pull up how much I have here. Let's see. So my highest drafted Bronco is Troy Franklin at 16%, then RJ Harvey at 10.5%, Bo Nix at 9.2%. Then I've got 7.8% Bryant, 7% Cortland Sutton. Bummer, Devontae Adams goes there. Well, that's okay. We get the Travis Etienne thing going here now.
Should we take? Oh, I was gonna say. So something else I kind of like to do here. I mean, obviously Kittle's an advance rate piece is really nice. Another thing that I think you can try around here is trying to do a Denver team, which I guess maybe we still could do.
I think you just wait if you're going to do the Denver team, because that's the whole magic of trying to do a Denver team is that you wait so that you're not having to forego. Right now we've got monster advance rate pieces. We have the wide receiver 1, the tight end 1, a running back that will project well. We don't want to give that up to be like, what if I just took a 0 in round 1 for this 1 of 6 contest? Also, like, which Denver piece are we applying such high value to that we're so devastated if it gets sniped, right? I guess for us, since we have Puka and we probably prefer it to be Rams Broncos, it's RJ Harvey is the one that you would, place the premium on. But for me, it's like, number one, I'm not really forcing stuff like that anyway. I'm just letting the draft windows give me what they give me is the biggest edge. That's kind of the whole point of the Sims for me. But if you weren't drafting the whole way and you want to like balance your portfolio a little bit, then if you were trying to IKB into Broncos, I don't want to like start doing it too early where I'm really fighting an uphill battle, because that Broncos exposure I just talked about, I was getting them, I could finish my drafts with Broncos basically. Like they were just going so late. People were laughing at, how high we had the Broncos, or like the sidekick keeps recommending me Broncos and they stink. Doesn't the sidekick know the Broncos stink? And now they're the 1 seed. And we're like, yeah, we don't want to touch them now that they're the 1 seed because we're not super confident they're actually going to go to the Super Bowl, but it sure was nice to get them while they were cheap. And so that's kind of the approach I take. And that's the same thing we did with Seattle, where you're talking about, hey, I think the Seahawks, JSN nuke game in round 2 would be really bad for you. I don't think it's actually inherently bad for me, because the sidekick was treating it probabilistically that the Seahawks would get a bye some percentage of the time after the Rams got knocked off. So I do have some teams built in that window where it was, hey, it's about it's a dead heat between 49ers and Seahawks and Rams. And then after the Rams got knocked off and it was, hey, it's 49ers and Seahawks for the bye. Just taking that probabilistic approach of sometimes this team gets the bye and sometimes this team gets the bye, just based on whatever sims you end up sampling, got me some Seahawks teams that would survive a bye. So I think in general, it'll probably be good for me. The other thing that I have going for me is JSN really doesn't fall that much, where the sidekick is not into JSN at his cost right now. And so we think it's going to be pretty hard to get those really strong Seattle teams through, and they already exist in the tournament, and people have been able to build them with the pieces necessary to get them through. So that's kind of how I'm playing that.
I am I have no clue what this draft is going to end up being. I mean, my sense is right now is that it's best built with Puka, ETN, and Kittle as a Jags team. But yeah, so Jacobs goes, Devonta goes. This guy's going to take Goddard.
I mean, if they want to
Well,
give us Jalen Hurts as an
I
advanced
was
rate
going to say
quarterback too.
this poor guy. He clearly wanted to do this, and we just ruined his day. Now, do we want to take Hampton to set up AFC stuff opposite Puka, Kittle, and Hurts, or do you want to try and build out the full Bears thing?
I'm fine going with the full Bears thing. The other thing you can do is if you really wanted to do Broncos, this is where you would.
This is where you take
This is
RB.
the best spot you could get it. Just because you have such strong advance rate stuff around.
All right, let's do it. You know what? You're right. I'm light on the Broncos, and you are not going to find a better start to a Broncos team than Puka, ETN, George Kittle, and Jalen Hurts. We should project for a lot of points in round one, which is a good spot. Yeah, I mean, look, so some of the stuff in playoff best ball is just hoping the room gives you stuff like Josh Allen and Puka. Like, I mean, it's like any draft based game. You get most of your EV from the mistakes that your opponent makes in these draft games. So that is what we are attempting to do, by and large, or hoping to get a lot of the time.
Yeah, I wonder, we may need to push the sidekick further onto the track that we're trying to do with Broncos, just because it thinks like, hey man, Broncos are not the way in a 1 out of 6. But if it gets back to us, the other thing is,
well, Swift went, so we might not even want to do that anymore. We might. I don't know what we're about to do. Honestly, I have no idea. We're kind of in the wilderness right now.
Yeah, we're a bit in the wilderness. I do have faith that the sidekick will land the plane for us here. It's been a long time since I've had one where the sidekick, every once in a while you'll get into a room, and depending on how crazy the room is, okay, there is Bo Nix. He's
five different teams represented in the top 5 options, though.
Yeah. You will get to spots where the sidekick sort of just throws its hands up and says, best of luck with your future endeavors, but this is not the draft that's winning it all. We're going to get you as far as we can go. Maybe that's making it to the finals and getting better than min cash. Maybe it's just a finals min cash. Maybe it's just trying to get in the conference championship round and recoup that entry fee plus a little something. So it's been a long time since I've run into a room like that. I'm not ready to say that this is one of those rooms. We'll see how the sidekick wants to dig us out here. We should have enough points in round 1 to where we can start to manage it, but I'm going to be interested to see how it does it, because this is not a thing that I ever really do where I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to IKB into Broncos when we think that they
I literally only did it because we were talking about it, and I had one of those moments where I was like, dude, if the Broncos are in the Super Bowl, I'm going to have spent 6 weeks just pounding these teams and have no chance at winning $1 million, and that doesn't sound that fun. And I guess a 49ers Broncos Super Bowl, I guess I could sit some of those out there. And so our other option now is setting up a Packers Jags Super Bowl, but I think we just take Knicks and then see what it wants us to do. If we're going to try and put it on because I'm going to try and put it on the tracks. I think it's still going to tell us to take Watson.
Yeah, because we need receivers to fill out, because there's not the problem is that the Cortland Sutton getting sniped is actually the thing that I think stopped us there from seeing Sutton pop up. Because it would have liked to go into, all right, you're going to do this Broncos thing. Well, let's go Broncos Rams. But what receiver are we going to show up with as our wide receiver 2 in the Super Bowl and feel good about that and be able to fill a good flex in Broncos Rams, right? Like the Broncos Rams teams that we could be feasibly competing against are teams with Puka, Kyron, Stafford, right? Or Puka, Adams, Stafford. And so we just have such a massive projection disadvantage when we lose Sutton. Like we already were fighting uphill to play it from the Broncos side of a Broncos Rams. And And yeah, now it's just like, we're gonna show up to a Devontae Adams and Kyron Williams fight with a, Troy Franklin and Troy Franklin and what, like a Pat Bryant, like,
hey, Troy Franklin, Evan Ingram, these guys can easily outscore. These guys can easily outscore Courtland Sutton in a given game and have outscored Courtland. I mean, it's not the way that you would project it, but
yeah, it's less. I mean, the Courtland Sutton bit hurts a little. It's less about Sutton and more about the Rams pieces that we're having to outscore, right? It's like we need to hit the parlay of outscoring, at least two of Adams, Kyron, Puka, Stafford, to make that work. So this might just be one where we wave the white flag and let the sidekick take us to,
to advance rate down.
The best it thinks we can do, given the current spot that we're in.
Yeah. So I guess one, taking Kittle there puts you on a weird path, and then taking
losing Lawrence was the dagger for us.
Yeah.
Lawrence and Myers going was quite bad for us.
Which, I mean, look, man, it happens, right? End of the day, it happens. It's kind of why. I mean, it's one of the reasons why the tool exists, right?
Yeah.
Is to make, because, well, I tell you what, if I was drafting this, like on my phone, walking my dog or whatever, Woody Marks went. All right, you know what? I'm calling an audible here. I think what we should do, it's not going to help us get, first off, our team is already good enough to advance. I think we should just go full Packers here. Shouldn't we?
I mean, whatever you're doing, do it quick because we're about to time out.
I know whatever.
We're going to show up with no Josh Jacobs. Yeah, I mean,
with RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey can outscore Josh Jacobs in a Packers-Broncos Super Bowl quite easily.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would just say go with God. So yeah, we can do Romeo Dobbs.
We're going with God. I mean, it's like, yes, we are marginally less likely to get our money back now, but we are gaining equity in a Packers Broncos Super Bowl. If we can't advance with Puka, ETN, Kittle, and Hurts at around 1, God was not finding us anyways. God had abandoned us long ago. If we needed DK Metcalf to save this team, it was over anyway. Don't you think? I mean, maybe I'm totally wrong.
Not, because we took some buy pieces in the middle and sacrificed some receiver projection, and so our receiver 2 spot is going to be a little bit painful. And we're not even strong in the flex either, right? Like, we had a strong start to advance, and then we started to go into Broncos, and then so I think we just kind of middled it here.
That's exactly. So when we took Harvey and then Sutton was off the board, we basically were only left with middles.
Yeah,
there was no good way to go.
The guy in the 6 just absolutely doing us in at every turn. He takes the Jags from us. He's doing Parker Washington, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
He takes Courtland Sutton from us. Yeah, that was this guy in the 6 hole has a vendetta against you.
Well, it's a good lesson. Either way, one, it's a lesson of what happens when you try and get creative, which is you then leave yourself at the mercy of the room. Because doing what we did, the draft had to fall in a very specific way for us to get a team that we would have wanted. And it's also a lesson in, when you get off the rails, it is your responsibility to have a plan to get back on the rails, even if things go awry. And the Steelers are not a plan. They can be a plan, I guess. They feel like a bad plan to me.
Yeah, a big part of why I'm pretty okay just clicking the Steelers at the end of drafts like this when the spots come up where the sidekick's telling me to is, dude, if I show up in the outcomes where the Steelers just beat the Texans, which totally, it would be so unsurprising to see the Texans lose to the Steelers. Like, I think the Texans will win, but it wouldn't shock me to see otherwise. And then you're in round 2 against all of these pods, 70% of the contest where people didn't draft Steelers at all, and you just get to show up and have those extra pieces, like that is pretty nice. So that's why I'm okay doing it. And also just like, God, there's only so much of the same guys I can be clicking and just like jamming the same advance rate pieces down my throat. It is nice from a risk management standpoint to not just be hammering the same guys at the end of the draft. So,
all right. So Metcalf went. I'll take Gainwell. I'm wondering if it's going to be like, yeah, dude, just take Tet. Like, literally, just get your money back, bro. Just give up.
It probably is, yeah.
Well, so now it's giving like, the Broncos stuff now.
Like, there's light at the end. You want to just do the go to the light and click the Broncos?
Yeah, that was my plan. That was my plan to begin with.
All right, we can go to the light and click the Broncos. And you know what? This is something that the Sidekick will actually do for these bye teams on DK, especially. With the 1 of 6 and with how crazy the rooms can be, there are some Super Bowls where it doesn't really care that you don't have full 6 players in the finals. If it's a Seahawks Broncos Super Bowl, it's not going to be very many teams with 6 players. It could literally be under 10. And so some of the outcomes that you're seeing here, are it's just saying, well, dude, this team's kind of in trouble. But I guess if it's Broncos, Seahawks Super Bowl, you don't even really need a full roster. You still could score enough points to get better than a min casher. Probably not taking first, but like the way that the payout structure ladders up, you could make a solid return on your money if you find this team in a Broncos Seahawks Super Bowl. And that's really some of the stuff you'll see. If you do end up drafting into heavy buy teams, you might notice the Sidekick saying, hey, man, you don't need to get a 6th Bronco. We're good with 5. Or you don't need to get a 6th player for this double 1 seed matchup. Like, you're okay with 4 or 5. Especially the better the players that you have. Like, if you have all the highest projected players, it's like, dude, don't worry about Pat Bryant on this. If we got a really good Rams start, it probably would be like, dude, 2 Broncos is fine. Like, 2 Broncos and the 3 best Rams might be enough to do it for you. That is not the situation that we're in, though. And so it is saying, go to the light with Pat Bryant.
I'm happy. Look, somehow this is going to end up being like, this team is going to end up being like a fucking wagon. It's going to be
so funny when this is your best team.
Anytime you just hate it, this is always my experience. You just hate it. You're like, this is horrible. Every pick felt terrible. And of course, because it's my best team, I got to take Mims, because the most poetic way for this to happen is it gets to the Super Bowl. Pat Bryant catches a touchdown in the 3rd quarter, and all Marvin Mims gets is 1 punt return. And it literally would have been like a $1,500 difference to take Bryant over Mims.
You're such a masochist.
I know what I'm about. Look, it's just like you can only something just filled in the lobby. I don't know what it was, but one of the DraftKings contests just filled because now there's only 5 tournaments.
The $52 filled last night while I was trying to get my last ones in. I only had 15, but I was like, surely I'll be able to jam them in here. And it literally snap filled. Like, I want to say like 5+ lobbies all filled in a matter of 2 minutes. And it filled without me being able to get the rest in. So only got 15 down in the $52. It's going to be a lot of work this week to try and get the Wildcat maxed, because that one's just a little slow to fill. And like, you kind of got to be in a lot of the rooms. Like, you got to be in a pretty big percentage of the rooms overall to even max that thing. So it's going to be tough. I'm going to try my hardest.
Are you guys going to be doing some more streaming on the Leg Up stream this week?
I would assume so. I know that, for ship chasing, it's playoff week, so there will be a lot of content over there as well. But it wouldn't surprise me if Pat, gets another stream in here.
There you go. Sean McVay said he anticipates getting wide receiver Devontae Adams back from his hamstring injury against the Panthers. 12:50 p.m. from Sarah Barber on ESPN.com.
Would love to see him practice.
Practice.
That Because until we see him practice in full, I think it's only prudent for me to say there's some small probability that Devontae Adams doesn't play in round one, which is reflected in the Sims. Because, dude, if the guy doesn't practice the whole week and then it's game day and he goes out there and he's warming up and it's just not right, like, I think it's important to reflect the probabilities as they truly are. I don't want to go in there and say, yep, Devontae Adams, 100% guaranteed to play. Because that's for sure not the thing. If I allowed you to bet money against me and I said Devontae Adams is 100% to play, I'll give you infinity to 1. You'd be like, oh, okay. Like, no, lots of stuff can happen where he doesn't play. So I really want to see him play, but definitely think in the next sim run, I'll probably increase his probability to play, but I don't think I can get it quite to 100% just yet for week 1.
Do you guys have Higbee back up as the top Rams tight end now?
We had actually been ahead of the curve on this and had Higbee and Parkinson both with pretty similar ranges of outcomes. Higbee was a little wider since he was coming back from injury, and you just never know, with that, where you want to see the guy play and see what their usage is going to be for him. But after getting to observe that on Sunday, I went in and adjusted his range of outcomes. So you'll probably see Higbee and Parkinson mix. Well, James Cook's pretty cool here because we have a good chance at Cook Allen.
I mean, which one do you want to take first?
You take Cook. You take Cook first.
I was gonna say it's always better to take Cook first. I think even if the sidekick had him swapped, I would have done that.
Well, the other thing is too, like, we take Cook first, and the other guy takes Allen. Like, we can definitely take May, know, and be happy about it.
And use one or the other as the advance rate piece, setting up a Packers.
Could be Bears.
I mean, dude, the sweat inside of the legendary upside offices as
ETN in the first round.
Is he going to do ETN Rams and then set up Jags Rams without Puka?
Dude, I was looking at some of my earliest teams drafted in this, and my last 2 picks in like probably my first 10 drafts or something was just ETN BTJ. Like round 11, round 12, ETN
All right.
BTJ.
Here you go.
We get Allen Cook.
Eat your heart out, Chesley. There you go. There is a James Cook, Josh Allen in the flesh. That is in
the beautiful. Flagship too, where this was nigh impossible until this week. Like, and it happens this week, but it's also not common this week. So you're gonna. I really, really like this aspect of playoff best ball and how you manage fades and stuff like that, where we're not particularly high on the Bills. We think James Cook projects really well. We think there's a decent chance they beat the Jags, but we also think there's a chance the Jags beat them. We don't love having Josh Allen, but when you get this kind of start, it's like, cool. Now, if the Bills actually are the thing I need to win all the money, I've got the best way to win all of that money. Man, and this guy in the 1 hole gets the Puka Adams Kyron start with the inexplicable Stafford integrity protection out of the 2.
I don't think I would have done what WH Doug did there. I see why he did what he did, but on DraftKings, it does feel very tough to me to say I'm going to win a 49ers Super Bowl without George Kittle. I mean, I guess 49ers Super Bowl without McCaffrey, you're dead. You're hoping he injures his hamstring in the first quarter. Kittle, I guess, Kittle has a 2 for 20 in him, sometimes.
Yeah, I'd assume he goes Nico here, and then, okay. Because if you go Nico, at least you can get Schultz and just hope the gap between Kittle and Schultz isn't so big. But yeah, usually would not take Purdy in the second.
Yeah. And then
I probably would have taken like Kyron or Adams there. I would assume is what the sidekick would have you do, and then just play for NFC or AFC.
This is a little bit of an ADP reach, but man, are we going to be tilting our faces off if we?
You have to take Kincaid. Yeah. It's what are you pushing Dalton Kincaid for in this particular spot? Like,
it would be for Devonta Smith to get a good Eagles piece. That's really it.
But it's like, why? Because the Eagles' probability of making conference championship game is like only slightly better than Chicago. It's better, but not like by so much.
Do you want to try and push Shakir here, or do you want to just do it?
You could. God, Nico is pretty sweet for points, and because we're gonna draft Bills receivers,
because we're gonna draft the Bills, we're gonna need some wide receiver points.
Yeah.
Oh well, fuck.
We got Nico.
We autoed Nico. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I think that's okay here. I don't think someone will take Shakir. The other thing, though, like my consideration that I'm going through when I'm like, do I push Shakir here, is because I've got this nutted Bills stack, and what I'm looking at is Chicago, Green Bay. Both of those are like very, very viable ways to play as my other side in the Super Bowl. It's not such a huge step down from Philly as far as probability. It's a big step down from the Rams, but like we're not getting any Rams. Maybe we'll throw like a Rams tight end on later or something to help us in case Kincaid's lava lamp in his knee flares up or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that you want to secure Shakir here, because when the Bills make a run, the deeper you get in the tournament, the more and more it matters that you have Shakir, because the raw points matter so much less than the relative points. And then you're starting to do bets like Khalil Shakir versus Tyrell Shavers or something, and in any given game, Shakir is just going to be such a large favorite, that the vast majority of the time he'll outscore him.
This is going to end up being like a DK Metcalf ass team, or a Tet team where it's like, dude, you have a bunch of wide receivers to project for 6 points. All right, one pick here.
Yep, and then I'd assume that coal miner in the 6 will get us what we ultimately really want around the turn,
or what we maybe not want, but what we knew our destiny. Actually, okay, there you go. Well, the guy before us took Jacobs.
That's okay. I'm okay with our other destiny here.
All right, we got Shakir, so we now have Cook, Allen, Kincaid, Nico, Shakir. And then we are going to end up doing a Bears thing. No, we're not.
Okay. That's fine. We'll get the receiver firepower here. We can get Burden, which I'm totally fine with.
I think I'm going to take Burden, but I think Corum is a sneaky good pick here.
I think you don't want to show up against Rams in the Super Bowl. You do not want to show up against Rams in the Super Bowl.
You don't want to show up, because we don't have Puka, so we're hoping. Honestly, what we're hoping we show up here is we're hoping we show up against the Seahawks or the.
Seahawks would be pretty sweet here, because it's just not going to be possible to get Cook, Allen, JSN, hardly at all. I think I have seen it once. In fact, I might have it, but that was many moons ago, and it was like probably one of my first Allen Cooks that I ever got, and it was just a wild room.
Yeah, man. Reverse shout out to myself for being a Kansas City Chiefs fan, because had I not been a Kansas City Chiefs man, my way too early wildcard teams would be nutted, because I loved the Jaguars. I love the 49ers. Like, I was just smashing the button on McCaffrey. So just really sticking a big fat fucking anchor to my teams by drafting Rashee Rice and Patrick Mahomes and Kareem Hunt. Not loving that for myself. That's we don't care about that. That we got our eyes set on a bigger tight end prize.
Yeah, we can very comfortably push Josh Palmer here.
Believe it or not, you can. Not a sexy pick, Joshua Palmer.
No one will be interested in Josh Palmer. I do like that the sidekick lets me know, hey, dude, you need Josh Palmer for the highest EV on your team. That's great, sidekick. We'll get back to you on that. He'll make it there eventually. But we're gonna hopefully scoop up some other stuff here. Although I'm pretty worried about this guy in the 4. I think he probably just takes Watson. I don't think does he have a receiver?
He took so Loveland went. That was
right. I wanted Loveland too.
Yeah.
We're happy with Watson. If we miss out on Watson, then we're going to be a little sad. Yeah.
Yep.
And so it might just be a thing where
Pearsall.
I don't think we care about Pearsall because we don't want to play into the 49ers stuff.
We could do Marks or Hampton.
Yeah, do Woody Marks. We need running back projection, and it's into the road pretty soon here for running back points.
Yes. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if Hampton now, okay, I was gonna say maybe Hampton comes back up. I think different Marks is just.
I think you just do Monongai here too because we would like that part of the Super Bowl to be strong for us still. It's okay that we don't have Swift and Loveland because we've got the Cook and Kincaid, and so that's you don't
want Pearsall there because we get killed and we are finishing dead last in a Bills 49ers Super Bowl with this team. Yeah. We don't even have a sweat in a Bills 49. If the 49ers make the Super Bowl and you don't have McCaffrey, Purdy, Kittle, don't even check your tab until the game's over because you probably just lost. They just project so much better. If you add, this would be you. I mean, you guys have probably even done this, but if you just added up the median projection over the course of a season for one team, 1 through 6, including their tight end, the 49ers got to be the highest by a lot, right? By I would assume a standard deviation. Maybe the Jags are close in terms of if you added up their 6 highest scoring. The Bills would be low on that list.
Yeah, I'm looking at. Let's see, CMC and where do the Bills even fall? CMC and Kittle have
CMC and Kittle is projecting for 40.
Right. I'm trying to find. Oh God, yeah. Just don't be playing for a 49ers Super Bowl with the dregs. You don't want to show up with the scraps.
Yeah, you don't want to show up to a Bills 49ers Super Bowl with Brian Robinson. And Jake Tonjes.
Yeah, and injuries happen, and they are represented in the Sims. We have a probabilistic distribution of injuries happening to people in the playoffs, and so the fact that you're still not seeing oh yeah, we could totally make it to 49ers Super Bowl. We just need Jake Tonges and Brian Robinson, dude, and it'll be okay. Is because injuries happen infrequently enough that if you were going to be doing that, that is not a positive expected value way to play this contest.
Yeah. I don't think this fella is at risk of taking Caleb. I was going to say Higbee, but Higbee went. I do think Dawson Knox is also good here. Do you want to just take Caleb?
Yeah, we probably just take Caleb. No one's going to take Dawson Knox from us.
Yeah, no one's going to take Dawson
Knox. And it's just that, it's already, we've already got a Bills combo that's pretty rare. The fact that Caleb gives us an extra layer of insulation to where if if Josh Allen has a down game because James Cook is the thing that you need to get through, Caleb being the way to drag this really rare Bills combo through is worth so much expected value. That's how you show up to the Super Bowl with, the Bills against the Seahawks. And it doesn't really matter that we didn't have best Seahawks pieces because.
Yeah. All right. So we still don't need Palmer. So I think we take Rome, right?
Yep. You can go ahead and take Rome here.
Yeah. And then if Palmer does go, there are 900 loser Bills you can take.
Yeah, I did update the injury probability for Rome after seeing him jump around in such a lively manner yesterday on the sideline. I felt
he got in a limited practice on Friday. I thought he might play.
Yeah, I felt like it was enough signal to say that there's a better chance this guy plays now. But just like Devontae Adams, I need a little more before I'm going to say there's 100% chance. 100% chance of something happening is pretty high. So yeah. I don't make it a habit of saying there's 100% chance of these guys coming back from injury until I get news that there is.
Yeah, I mean CMC at 2 can feel bad, but even if they get shit canned this weekend, you're still all right, well, good luck beating my 31 point CMC. CMC is the odds-on favorite to be this year's Vlad McConkey. If I was gonna make you choose a guy, you'd choose Christian McCaffrey. He's the most likely to go super nuke.
14 targets, 12 receptions, 78 yards, 28 carries for 62 yards, 1 touchdown.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah. And in a loss, and it doesn't really matter. You're watching the 49ers are down 10 with 3 minutes and 38 seconds to go and 0 timeouts. It's all over but the crying, and Christian McCaffrey just got 14 more fantasy points from like 7 targets on the last drive.
I mean, I would assume right now, I mean, I can go look it up, but I would assume CMC's projected probably 8 points better than Barkley and every good. Did Barkley even get to 4 yards per carry this year?
Yeah, CMC smokes.
He did just barely get to 4 yards per carry. Shout out to Barkley, man. Shout out. They most certainly do not have the same touchdown odds. That would also be very, very, very wrong. All right, so we can do Palmer now. So we've got Palmer, and then is that going to change our odds at all?
Yeah, Dawson Knox, baby. There we go. I like that. This is a really fun one. We didn't get some of our favorite advance rate pieces. We didn't get to play the hits, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe, when it all goes wrong for our other teams where we've played the hits, we get through this extremely unique Josh Allen, James Cook, Bills.
Yeah, like all of our Packers teams died on the vine, but that's okay. We saved ourselves, and that's all right. So the last one was a bit of a nightmare. This one is beautiful. Josh Allen, James Cook, Nico's our advance rate, Shakir and Kincaid, Burden for advance rate, Marks for advance rate, Manungai, Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, Josh Palmer, Dawson Knox. So we actually have a full Bills Super Bowl here. This has multiple Super Bowls optimized for. It has Bills, Bears. I believe it also has because if we would have taken Komet, it would have given us it would have given us Chicago, Houston.
If we don't get sniped on Loveland, that would have been really nice.
All right. Do you have to get back to work?
I've probably got one more in me.
All right, beautiful. Because this is all that I'm going to be doing until Saturday. I've actually done all of these on DraftKings on stream, so it's relatively slow going. I've been for whatever reason, this is the number I found. You can comfortably do 8 sidekick drafts on UD at a time, and it will generally refresh and get you whatever you need. I've not tried multi-tabling on DraftKings. What's the secret to multi-tabling with the sidekick on DraftKings?
I was doing multiple tabs. Like last night, I had, I think, 6 going, where I just had a bunch of tabs open at once. And it was fine for me. We should have the stability issues resolved. There were some. I think it's more if you have like an older computer. Sometimes if you got a bunch of stuff going at once, your browser is just, you got a lot of stuff going on in your browser. You could run into issues. I think we resolved that because I wasn't having any issues last night and was able to multi-table a lot at once. If you are finding it difficult to draft a bunch in different tabs at once, or it's loading slow, your best fallback plan is just the active drafts page on Underdog, because then you're just sitting on one page. You just click them as they come to the top. The only downside of that is like you're not looking at the rooms, but I mean, if you're multi-tabling 8 at a time, you're not really doing too much room reading there anyway. It's just a lot to keep up with all at once.
Yes. All right. So we're drafting out of the 3 spot here. I do not know what the computer is going to tell me to do. If the Rams, 49ers, and Eagles lose round 1, I mean, certainly. Look, I mean, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. Like it's completely in the. It's also yes, the 49ers and the Eagles.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think the 49ers and Eagles will lose.
But I mean, like if all the dogs win or whatever, I mean, it would obviously be insane if all the dogs won. But if multiple dogs win, I mean, as we said at the beginning of the show, like really shouldn't be that. Really, we should not be that surprised at the end of the day. And it will create a lot of your Steelers teams. The Steelers team we just drafted will be live.
Well, they want to give us the best advance rate piece in the tournament in the 3 spot. So I think we just go ahead and do that.
It's just so hard to take Allen at 2. I know why you do it, and like Allen can be a huge advance rate piece. The Bills can just totally, like, I'm not even discounting the Chess Liam theory that like the Bills, like it's their year, Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the NFL, whatever, like totally possible. But man, if he does not get 31 points in round 1, given how his teammates score, like this is not a BR, this is not DFS, like where you can pick and choose. Like you're going to be playing with one hand tied behind your back, as you saw with that team we just drafted with Kincaid, with Shakir. We were like, we have to be mindful of how to build this because these dudes probably suck. You know, like they probably are just not going to get us any points.
Yeah, you can earlier in draft cycles, taking Josh Allen this early was just like a death sentence. There's just no way you could build a decent team. Now with the way that the board has shifted, where you can get some Rams back, you actually can build into some Josh Allen Rams stuff, which would smoke our Josh Allen Cook stuff. You know, if there are times where you can get Kyron, and then the Puka drafter will not take Adams. Like I've seen people go Puka Stafford and then like ETN or something, or Puka Stafford Collins, and you can end up with Allen with 2 Rams. And so that's a way I've seen it work. So I actually dislike Allen less at the beginning of boards now than I did a few weeks ago. And it's purely because of how the rest of the draft room falls. And that's backed up by what the Sims were telling us too. Earlier in draft cycles, the Sims are like, don't you dare take Josh Allen in the beginning of the first round. Like you can think about him at the end when you have a chance of getting Allen Cook, and otherwise just like pass on it. But yeah, here, so basically what happens to make this even better is the guy who took Cook doesn't take Adams, and we pass on Adams, and the guy in the 1 hole does this same thing. Don't love this though. Don't love what's going on there. But
do you want to do Purdy, or do you want to take an AFC guy and hope that we don't get punched in the face?
How much do you trust this room? I think the 6 hole take hurts if we leave him up there. I just don't know what the guy.
It would be Hendo. It would be Hendo or Purdy.
I think you just do Purdy. I don't think the opportunity cost on Hendo is high enough for us to risk it with Purdy. And look at that. The Sims are in your head because that's who they wanted after you took Purdy. Yeah, it's just, for me, it's like we can get Ramondre later. And yes, Henderson will project better than Ramondre. Oh, man. I think it's a really good thing we didn't push Purdy, though, because this guy taking Hurts puts the guy in the 6th spot just in a blender. And maybe he just, rage picks Purdy or something then.
He really shouldn't, though. He should just take Devonta Goddard and then go AFC quarterback.
Yeah. But you never know how people are going to react when, their main thing got blown up there right in front of them. Like I see people do crazy stuff all the time in these. So
yeah. And dude, I mean, you guys think about bumping Ramondre up the ranks a little bit after that explosion performance yesterday?
I think we actually had his range pretty good. We had outcomes like that happening for him already, the funny thing is, like, if we showed everyone, like, hey, here's the full distribution of what every player could score, people would be like, what are you talking about? Ramondre can score, 28 fantasy points. You guys are so stupid. Oh, my God. And then it happens. It's like, yeah, it's a good thing we had that in the distribution, right? And so we did have outcomes like that existing. They're not going to happen all that often, but it's important to get the distributions right in your sim.
I remember checking box scores at one point yesterday, and he had 5 rushes for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ah, fuck.
Yeah, that Diggs would have
Dang.
been really sweet for us
Yeah,
there.
Diggs would have been really nice there. All right, we'll do
It's okay.
Jennings.
We'll take our Juwan Jennings medicine here.
Yeah. Yeah, Ramondre with the 5 rushes for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. I was like, man, what time? That's when I knew that the day was not going to go well for me. That I had not accurately projected the DFS slate at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of Patriots double running back stuff from early when you could get Henderson in the 4th. You could get May in the 3rd, Henderson in the 4th, and Ramondre was undrafted, And so I've got a lot of the Patriots double running backs. So I can only dream that they put up days like they put up yesterday.
So there's this really interesting dynamic. I'm sure you've felt this where Jacobs and Swift are here. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't take them. I do just like my old my Sidekick classic brain does tell me, well,
Ramondre goes, bummer.
Yeah, that is a bummer. My Sidekick classic brain tells me, like, dude, you should take Hampton because then you just created another Super Bowl.
Yeah, the probability of Hampton showing up at the Super Bowl is like pretty low. That what you're gaining by doing that is probably not as much as making sure that you get this really strong 49ers team through. And then you'd be much better off doing something like getting a random Troy Franklin with this team, like doing a Troy Franklin and Kayshon Boutte later and tack on a Ricky Pearsall. And all of a sudden we've got Broncos and Patriots. Cause like, let me hit you with this. So Patriots and Broncos together, Patriots show up in the conference championship 48% of the time. Broncos show up at the conference championship 59% of the time. Let's see. And then between each other, how often are they playing? Yeah, Broncos Patriots happens in the conference championship as the matchup 26% of the time. That's like a pretty high chunk of the outcomes, right? So you get Patriots Broncos as your teams. Compared to Chargers by themselves make the conference championship 8% of the time. That's less than a third of Broncos and Patriots making it together, which is pretty crazy. And you have a good amount of times where they make it. So yeah, Pearsall is a great pick here.
Yeah, and I do think I don't know. It's probably going to start telling us to take Packers here, but I do like taking Hampton here because Hampton at least is going to PPR scam in their potential loss to the Patriots. Yes, believe it or not, the sim-based process does in fact factor in that the Niners are 14-1 to make the Super Bowl. It is factored in. Dang, do I need to click the little button, the refresh button? It's glitching out on me. I don't know. Dude, I just made it taller.
You can try refreshing your page if it's hanging here.
Auto draft would be Hampton. Is that what the Sidekick is going to tell me? It might not load, and I might be. Oh God. What do I do? I don't know. I don't know what to do with the computer.
Blind. Hampton would be okay.
I'm going to take Hampton.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Hampton because 1, I think he is a pretty strong advance rate piece. 2, we have already built out so we now have a complete Super Bowl without having to take a.
I'd go ahead and just do a quick reinstall from the leg up site while we have some time, just since it'll be fast. I wonder if something timed out here on the back end.
I think...
And then, just click your little circly wheel. And then hopefully this gets us back up.
I think it is. There we
go. Yeah, so something probably timed out on the back end. Maybe your authentication timed out, and it was we did do some back end work over the weekend, and so I think it may not have had your authentication for your membership.
All right, so it's the Sidekick is saying to do Steelers stuff. Is Lad already gone? Did I miss Lad going? Lad already went.
Steelers is fine, but if you want to opt out, you can go into the Texan stuff.
We had like 1 second left, so I took
Okay.
Gadsden because I was trying to find Lad, and then I also realized in the back of my mind that like Cujo is gone, and as I mentioned earlier, Gadsden, my stone favorite pick in terms of like random advance rate stuff. I can just see it in my mind's eye, and I want to play into that. So now we have a Chargers 49ers Super Bowl. We can also, Marks is still there. So if we don't want to do the Steelers stuff, we can do Marks, Schultz, Jaden Higgins, whatever we want. I know. Look, I know it wants me to take the Steelers. I see you.
You need wide receiver points bigly. I mean, look at the wide receiver room.
Because we only have Pearsall and Jennings.
I would just trust the machine here.
No, this is actually a spot where it's not about him being a Steeler. It's about his round 1 projection. That feels, to me, as a drafter, that makes me feel so much more comfortable. When it's not saying, you idiot who doesn't understand math, you are underrating the Steelers. That's not what it's saying to me. It's saying, you idiot don't understand that if Ricky Pearsall goes 0-0-0 again, you're not advancing this team that you like.
We do have just for like reference compared to Houston. So Houston 19% chance to show up in the conference championship. Pittsburgh 17.5% chance. So like they're both going to be dogs in the next game they play, most likely, right? And so Pittsburgh's a dog in their first game, but how it materializes getting through the actual bracket is like not that crazy. And I mean, actually making the Super Bowl, very, very long shot for both of those teams. Or well, for Pittsburgh, I think specifically more than Houston because they'll have a lower team strength. But
yeah. So if we take Keenan, that gives us more stabs at wide receiver points, and Gainwell will still be there. They'll both still be there. So let's take Gainwell and see.
Yeah, no one's sniping either of these guys from us.
Yeah.
Jokic for Prez says for Steelers to only be 2% behind, you're thinking of a raw number, not the relative difference. The relative difference of 1.5% difference is large when
it's 19 to 17
19 versus 17 and a half.
Yeah,
that is in fact
that would be
how the math works.
That's like what, like actually like 12.5% difference relative. Is that right?
Something.
It's something like that. It's like when you say like someone with a 28% target share to someone with a 24% target share, it's only a 4% difference when actually it's like a massive difference in terms of how you interpret that for projected points. I'm not going to take Rodgers. I'm sorry. Shady, Sack, Crane. I'm sorry. I've done it. I made my quarterback bet. I'm saying that Purdy gets me there. I'm taking Keenan Allen here. And if it still wants me to take Rodgers in the end, then so be it. I do think once I take Keenan, it might tell me to take an anonymous Chargers player potentially, or maybe it'll still tell me to take Rodgers, but I'm taking Keenan.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't think I've gotten to the Hampton pick very often, so I don't really know what this branch looks like from this spot. I would scroll back up to the Hampton pick. I want to see what was there because I bet it probably wanted. Okay, so Burden goes before it.
It was. I mean, Metcalf was at top when I had to refresh.
Okay, so maybe it was just going to be Metcalf that early. It probably wanted Metcalf early to allow you to take Booty and Franklin later. Is basically what my thought process would be.
I can see,
because that's you need your points to get this 49ers team through, and then the particulars about which AFC teams are less important than getting the 49ers team through. And then after you've gotten that through, then it's all right, let's add equity to the highest probability Super Bowls, which would be, 40 or Patriots, Denver. That would be my best guess, but not having been.
It is tossing Pat Bryant as an option. Let's go. Would you just say if you were drafting, you just take
I just
Rodgers?
took Rodgers. Yeah.
All right, there you go. There you go. I gave the computer
QB's
everything.
get done, man.
I
QB's
gave
get done.
I gave the computer everything it wanted, just in a different order with a little bit of Gadsden. So we got Purdy, McCaffrey, Jennings, Pearsall, Kittle, Jacobs is our advanced rate piece, Hampton, Gads. Okay, I actually remember what I was doing now. Had I built out the entirety of that Chargers thing, we could have done Chargers Packers. I just had to reinstall it in the middle there, and then we ended with the Steelers. Sack, I will let you get back to your matrix coding. Anything specific you want to tell the people about the kick that they can get at legendaryupside.com?
Just head over to legendaryupside.com. We have the Sidekick subscription there. As soon as playoff best ball is over, I mean, we're already working hard on the upcoming way too early best ball slate that will, I mean, if it's anything like last year, it'll probably drop. What was it, Super Bowl week that we were drafting?
No, conference championship.
Conference championship week. My goodness. So yeah, we'll be in the lab getting that working. Annual Sidekick membership will cover all of that. It'll cover the way too early stuff. It will cover all of the hot best ball summer, and then you'll have it ready to go for playoff best ball again next year. Thanks for having me, Davis. It was fun, and best of luck as you try to max everything here.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I have any success or more or less success bullying the Sims without you. And I'll see you soon.
All right, catch you later.
All right, boys. There we go. We are going to be knocking in the rest of these here. Probably do, I don't know, 4 or 5 more. And we'll see if I'm able to avoid the Steelers. Maybe we'll do a little bit more IKBing. I wish that there was an option. I wish there was an option to just remove the Steelers. Like, I wish I could just tell the Sidekick, like, hey, man, you can tell me to take the Steelers as many times as you want, but I'm just not going to do it. Who is the best play in the DFS wildcard weekend? Christian McCaffrey. Heard of this young man named Christian McCaffrey who plays for the San Francisco 49ers? Underrated little guy, Christian McCaffrey. Yes, a Steelers opt-out button. If we could find a Steelers opt-out button. I'm trying to see who my most drafted player. Oh, my most drafted player in playoff best ball is actually this. I would not have guessed this. It's Blake Corum. I just had my exposures up. Blake Corum, my most drafted player in playoff best ball up until this point, followed by Brian Thomas, Puka Nacua, ETN, Stafford, Woody Marks, Trevion Henderson, Hunter Henry, Dallas Goedert, and Ramondre, which I guess is not all that surprising. I mean, you definitely want to be, in my opinion, it behooves you to be overweight on the Rams and the Patriots. Those are probably my 2 favorite teams relative to their odds. I just assumed everyone here is Jacobs. I think I honestly spend so much time fighting against the Sidekick telling me to take Jacobs that I actually do less of him than expected. There you go. Marks and Jacobs. So Nacua goes first. We are maybe about to build. Let's see if this guy doesn't take McCaffrey. I've gotten McCaffrey at 3 a couple times already today. Yeah, I mean, Rams without Nacua are not great, but okay. All right, we're gonna do Jay Allen. Come on down, Josh. So the Rams are bad without Nacua. Follow me down this train of thought. Maybe it's stupid, maybe it's not. But when you take Puka, I think Corum becomes like infinitely more valuable to you, particularly when you do the Puka Adams Stafford start, because Corum gets enough points that he can contribute in the flex in a Super Bowl lineup, even in a team where you have taken Travis Etienne, Amarian Hampton, Ramondre Stevenson, whoever, a Josh Allen, Kyron Williams start. I kind of like Adams a little bit better, but let's just ride with it and see where we go. So I think a big reason why I am so high on Quorum relative to the sidekick, relative to what other smart people think, is my prior on Quorum is just a little bit different in the sense that I think Quorum can get fantasy points in a game where Kyron is also like uninjured. Like yesterday, Kyron Williams had 12 rushes for 60 yards. Quorum had 13 for 59. All right. So Nico adds the Texans in as a bet for us here. If we don't take Nico, we are going to be pretty far behind in terms of wide receiver points. I would like to take an NFC option here. Is there an NFC? I guess there's not really an NFC running back to take here is the issue. I mean, I don't love take. I honestly prefer I was gonna say I prefer the running back points here, and I'm gonna take ETN instead of Henderson because I have this idea that maybe we use Josh Allen as the advance rate piece for a Jags team. I was thinking in my head, Josh Allen kills everyone in week 1, scores 42 points, totally puts on the cape, but like doesn't bring Shakir, doesn't bring Kincaid, maybe throws a long touchdown to Brandon Cooks or something. And Allen could also do that in a loss, right? Yeah, I agree that New England is a better stack, but Drake May is gone. Drake May went at 5. If you're playing for Quorum for the flex, there should be AFC options that could hit that flex better and maybe advance. Well, yes. I mean, I know that a lot of what we are doing here, Woo Benny, my guy Benny, is trying to project what guys are going to score in the Super Bowl. But so some as a great philosopher once said, it's a little bit more of an art. So wanting to toss in, so Jennings then becomes some wide receiver points potentially. Dude, this is a bad Bills 49ers Super Bowl though. I'm actually just gonna take Jacoby Myers because I want to maybe do this one. This one's gonna end up being a little bit of a mess. I foresee. As high as the projections are for the 49ers, the Eagles just feel like a much better, more complete team. I mean, yes, they are literally the defending Super Bowl champions. Sack just left. I guess I should change the title of the stream. Playoff best ball drafts with the bracket complete. There you go. No more Sack on the title there. And now we ended up where we knew we were all going to end up. We are going to select Joshua Jacobs, and now we are about to draft just an insane amount, just an otherworldly amount of Green Bay Packers. And then we're going to have to figure out what we want to do at tight end because we never really had I guess, honestly, we probably should have taken Kincaid over Myers, but there we go. Eagles and Houston seems like a fun one. I don't think I built that one yet. That's actually one that I should go out of my way to try and build. Maybe I'll do that the next time I get there. The next time I get an Eagles team, maybe I will try and do that. And now we are going to take Christian Watson. So we've got Allen as our advance rate piece, and we are going to try and set up a Packers Super Bowl. Doing an Eagle stack with a CMC advance piece right now. Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things I've changed about how I'm drafting these is using those first and second round pieces as advance rate pieces. Did a few DK drafts this morning and on those rooms, starting to see the big quarterback push up. No, I've noticed the same thing. Quarterbacks are getting big time pushed up in playoff best ball. Now that the field is final, now that everyone knows where everyone is going, I have big time noticed that. So Jordan Love is the top pick here. We are actually not under much stress of losing him. So I'm going to take a tight end instead, and I'm going to take Brenton Strange as our tight end. I mean, I guess maybe famous last words if we end up losing Jordan Love. I have not done very many JSN teams. And the reason why I haven't is one, I didn't really like his price as the third player, particularly with the buy expectation. And now the sidekick doesn't like him. So now the sidekick is not a huge fan of the price. The sidekick has Josh Allen and I think even Drake May. What's funny is now that he's at the turn, I actually think JSN is a much better pick. So we've got Jordan Love. It still wants us to take Love. We can probably wait there. You know what? Let's just do it. It'll be too annoying if we miss it. And I actually want to give the sidekick the information. Yeah. So I wanted to give the sidekick information on what we were doing. I also I was thinking about maybe taking Loveland there. Loveland doesn't add to a Super Bowl, but just becomes this huge advance rate piece. I also would have wanted to take Dalton Schultz, I think, but then we ended up missing out on Dalton Schultz because Dalton Schultz went at 43. Schultz could end up being the most important person in the world, by the way. He could be one of those guys who ends up being a big advance rate piece. So it's just giving us all Packers here. I should be able to get these guys like kind of relatively uncontested. I'd like to maybe take an advance rate wide receiver. So it's got Metcalf pretty high up there, QJ. All right, I guess let's just take Reed. And then will it start to give me some advance rate AFC wide receivers? Nope, still just Metcalf. So we've got Love, Reed, Watson, and Jacobs. We've got Strange at tight end. There you go. I was hoping I could bully it into getting Gadsden in there, a guy that I really like, a guy I'm much higher than consensus on. I think there was this theory that that like Gadsden's role sucked or that he like something changed with how he was playing, which I don't think is true. Hampton goes, okay, so if we want Gadsden, we are now going to start having to compete for Gadsden. So we are going to take him there. I really like to take multiple. I mean, I've talked about this a ton, but I do really like to take multiple tight ends in these. Like I would a fifth wide receiver or a third tight end. I mean, just kind of following the trend from this DFS season, it does feel pretty fun to just have three tight ends. I mean, how many times this year did we play three? How many times this year did we play two tight ends in salary cap DFS? Like a ton. These teams are using these heavy personnel packages. We've got Colby Parkinson and Tyler Higbee, both going off for the Rams yesterday. How about that play that Cole Kmet made on the 2-pointer yesterday, by the way? What an insane reception by Cole Kmet. So if we take dubs, that will be 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be another Packer. And then we're going to take Luke Musgrave in the end, and that's going to give us a full-ass Green Bay Packers team. So there you go. We get Musgrave in there, and we have accomplished our mission. So in the end, what this team actually ended up being was Josh Allen, Kyron Williams, Jacoby Myers, Christian Watson, Brenton Strange, Travis Etienne Jr. So we have a Bills Packers, Jaguars Packers, Rams nothing. So Kyron is just the advance rate piece here, which is, Kyron is a totally fine advance rate piece. Talking good about Cole Kmet on this show feels like disingenuous touting. I mean, he was good. He was good. Drafting Luke Musgrave, and we have completed our Packers stack there, and we are going to hop back in the lobby, and maybe this next one. Well, what's interesting is Swift is now almost as expensive as Josh Jacobs, so you're getting the Packer stuff recommended to you even more often if you are using the sidekick. Rooting for Denver or Houston versus Seattle or Philadelphia. I mean, that certainly would be some chaos. All right, we got Jay Sarab from Run Pier Sports here in the pool. Drafting Packers like he's old Goody. Many such cases of old Goot. All right, so we're drafting out of the 1.4 in this one. Maybe this is one to do a JSN. Maybe time to start to try and draft JSN. Possibly. Who could say? Unless the meta has shifted massively today, I've gotten some crazy combos that just weren't possible before. I mean, I don't think the meta has shifted a ton, but it does feel like, I guess the thing that maybe has changed today is it feels like everyone drafting kind of knows what they're doing. Maybe I will just take May here. I don't love taking Nico in the second on DraftKings because so many teams have Nico in the third, which is not to say that you can't do that, but by and large, I want to try and be cognizant of when a combo is super common. Like the Nico in the third round is super, super common. So what you'd be better off doing is Barkley, AJ Brown, than Nico. Testing contest integrity with the Saquon AJ Brown start. We have many of those. Who is Ty Schmidt? I don't know. Must be a grinder if you see his name around a lot. So by the obviously one of the favorite things to do is the full Eagles team. I wonder if the Eagles make the Super Bowl, how many of those Saquon, AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert teams are going to be in there. It's going to be an absolute chop fest, or maybe not a chop fest, but who got the best AFC piece in there with those guys? You know, who got ETN, who's the highest scoring bill that you got in with those guys? But obviously a ton of yeah. You think not many of them? I don't know, man. Probably hard to advance. You will kind of have to nut out. All right, so the sidekick at 4 is giving us Barkley. I tend to agree. We can try our luck with one of those big Eagles things. Have I used the solver and the sidekick? Willing to give a review. Been asking a lot of folks, just haven't jumped on the tools yet. I have never used the solver for playoff. I've used the solver tool for battle royales. It seems good. Yeah. It seems fine. I don't know, but I just, Mr. Shady Advice as the programmer for the sidekick is pretty compelling, even if I look Shady and Sack and Karane's tool in the face and I say, get the fuck out of here. I'm not doing that. Is DraftKings taking their crowns away, Bukowski? It was news to me. I didn't know that was a thing. I guess I should get busy spending my crowns if that's happening. Jokic for Prez is correct here. Yes. The where stuff gets insane, so we take AJ Brown, is when you get the Gabe Davis, the Lad McConkey, the Jake Ferguson, where a guy generates a really high score in a loss. That ends up being the thing that kind of wrecks playoff basketball. Lad McConkey, what did he get? He got 38 points in a loss. Jake Ferguson got an insane score in a loss. Gabe Davis scored 4 touchdowns in a loss against the Chiefs. I mean, yes, it's pretty common, but it's just not the type of thing that you would plan your strategy around, because your ability to project what team is going to win and what team is going to lose is going to be very bad. If you set out at saying, well, what I know is going to happen is this player in this round is going to be the highest fantasy point scorer, and his team is also going to lose the game. Like if you set out to draft your playoff best ball teams that way, you're going to do a pretty bad job at predicting it, which is why we want to focus on having the highest scoring Super Bowl lineups as much as possible, because that's something that we can control for. All right, so now we take Jalen Hurts. So we have got the Barkley, AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts start. Where am I at on Brandon Cooks? I mean, I think Brandon Cooks is the same as Josh Palmer, Keon Coleman, Dawson Knox, like all of these tertiary, secondary players for the Bills. I think they're all poor fantasy options who are attached to a really great quarterback and a team that, because of that really great quarterback, just has a good chance of making the Super Bowl. But I don't have a fuck. All right, this guy takes Devonta, and this guy is going to take ETN, I think, which is a bit of a bummer. And then what are the odds that I lose Goddard? So who makes sense to take Goddard? The guy behind me has Kittle, so he won't. Hunter Henry goes. All right, we're gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. And if I lose him, I lose him. So we're gonna take ETN. How do we feel about the Rams losing against Carolina a few weeks ago? I don't really feel much of a way about it, but I guess I would say if you go back and watch that game, or if you go back and see how they actually got themselves in that spot, it was kind of like, not saying they didn't deserve to win, but I don't know if that game plan is able to be replicated, because they got 2 40-yard touchdowns on passing plays on fourth down. One of them to Jalen Coker, one of them to Teteroy McMillan. Now, they were very good plays, and Bryce Young executed them, and the wide receivers got open. But if you need 40-yard touchdowns on fourth down to beat the Rams, I wouldn't say that's a game plan that I anticipate. Like, you can just go into Los Angeles. Also, that game was in Carolina, and we did successfully get Dallas Goedert, so that worked out very nicely. We now have Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert, and Travis Etienne. So we need a Jags wide receiver. It would also be really nice to get Dalton Kincaid here to set up. Shit! I didn't even think about that. Okay, the game is in Carolina. You guys are right. That was stupid of me. Yeah, the Rams didn't win the division. The Seahawks are the 1 seed. Okay, the game is in Carolina. All right, man. There you go. Draft your Rico Dowdle. Draft your Teteroy McMillan. Draft your Bryce Young. Fade the Rams. I don't know. I don't think it's P-Wash. Someone must be drafting really poorly in this draft. Yeah, I guess the reason why the sidekick wouldn't give me Kincaid would be because they're playing the Jaguars. Who is drafting so poorly in this draft to be giving me all these? I mean, this is a little early for Stevenson. Bo Nix goes. All right, so we just have dudes who are asleep behind the wheel. This guy drafted McCaffrey, Jacobs, Ladd, Purdy, Darnold. So we've got one drafter who is just clicking buttons at random. This guy, I think he knows what he's doing, but he also might not know what he's doing. We're gonna find out with this next pick. This guy kind of knows what he's doing. Yeah, there you go. It's the guy. Yeah, so there's one guy who doesn't know what he's doing in this one. Christian Watson. Well, sometimes that's the way she goes. Sometimes you've got a bunch of people who don't know. I have not seen very many drafts on DraftKings get tossed, and I don't really think in playoff best ball, I don't really think there should be too many tossed because I think that maybe that guy Nico put is just auto drafting. All right, so we do BTJ next, or do we want to try and start to expand our palette on these teams? Like, do I want to try and bring in, because I only have Goddard at tight end. Who's more important? Is Strange more important or is BTJ more important? I guess probably BTJ by a little. Or do I want to take, you know what? Let's take P-Wash. I'm much lighter on Parker Washington than Brian Thomas. All right, Lawrence goes. So I need to fade this guy who doesn't have a tight end and has all AFC stuff taking. He shouldn't really take Brenton Strange, but maybe he does just because he needs points. So we have got Hurts, Barkley, AJ Brown, Jacoby Myers, Dallas Goedert, ETN, P-Wash. So we've got a full Super Bowl filled out. I think I probably want another AFC team. You know what? This is going to, you know what is so funny? This is actually going to end up being a Steelers team because I want an AFC side team here. All right, BTJ goes. So we didn't fully live the dream, but we do get Strange. So all right, so we have got Hurts, Barkley, AJ Brown, Jacoby Myers, Dallas Goedert, ETN, P-Wash, Strange. Now the sidekick is saying, all right, well, you've got all this stuff built out. You should get and actually I can even do so what I can actually do is I can set up another NFC team with the Jags because I've got ETN, Strange. So if I did Love, I can do Packers. All right. I like that. No, I don't think you want to go AFC here. I think you want to go NFC on the other side of the Jags because we don't have Trevor Lawrence. I think that's what we want. And I think the kick is correct. So we're going to do Love and then now we can take like Dubs and Wicks and Reed. Yeah. Yeah, and if the Packers win in round 2, they have to play Seattle round 2. So the only way Green Bay Philadelphia can meet is in the NFC Championship. There you go. How am I feeling about one quarterback builds? I just don't do very many of them because 2 quarterbacks just helps you advance more. So Reed then becomes our next pick. Oh, nope. No, he doesn't. So now it's telling me to go back to Metcalf as the advance rate. I think I'm going to do Dubs. So what I'm going to do is Metcalf goes anyway. So what I was going to say is I'll take Dubs and then see if it wants me to steer even harder into the NFC stuff. I could also, because I've got 2 picks left, take 2 Texans or 2 Steelers at the end to bring in another potential Super Bowl. So like if I took Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll here at the end, that would also give me another Super Bowl because I have how many Eagles? 1, 2, 3, 4 Eagles, 2 Jags, 2. Well, what I'd need to take to get a Jags Packers Super Bowl, I would need to take 2 more because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, actually, I've already got. So never mind. I already have a Jags Packers Super Bowl. My running backs are Barkley and ETN. Man, trying to do this math in real time. Do the teams with the bye always play the lowest seed in the divisional round? I believe that's true. Don't quote me on it though. Sharps is kind of a fun pick here because we could set up Seahawks. I guess no, we couldn't because we don't have Jaden Higgins, Gadsden, Wick. So it doesn't really want me to take Packers anymore. So I guess we are going to take Jalen Warren. Yeah, there you go. It does reseed. All right. So we are going to take Jalen Warren. I kind of like Gainwell more, actually. I like Gainwell as the check down king a little bit more. Well, all right, we're gonna end up taking both of them anyway. Who knew, man? Who knew we'd end up where we thought we'd always be? The Falcons have requested an interview with Seahawks offensive coordinator for their head coaching job. All right. Anytime you can end your draft with Jalen Warren and Kenny Gainwell, look, you Jaden Higgins is also kind of interesting here because our wide receiver points are sort of thin. Higgins could be kind of fun, but it doesn't add us in another potential Super Bowl where Warren does. And you could tell from the way it's ranking that it's doing a lot of mixing. Could also take Gadsden just for more points, but no, we're gonna take Jalen Warren. So in the end, we have got Hurts, Barkley, AJ Brown, Goddard. We have Jacoby Myers, ETN, Parker, Washington, and Strange. We have Love and Dubs, and then we have Gainwell and Warren. Yeah, how about the Cardinals wishing Gannon a happy birthday on the official account and then firing him a day later? Interesting scenario there, right? Very interesting scenario. Why did they decide to fire Jonathan Gannon? My current conspiracy theory as to why they chose to fire Jonathan Gannon is that they realized that it is harder to replace Kyler Murray than it is to replace Jonathan Gannon. I think two Pitt running backs. Oh, you're right. You know what, MGM, you're right, because it didn't give me another Super Bowl because I have a wide receiver missing. So you're correct, MGM. It doesn't give me another Super Bowl. So that was just about points. Had one of them been eligible at wide receiver, it would have. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Yeah. Do they already have the replacement for Kyler? Hard to say. All right, so we're picking out of the 3 slot again. Let's see if we can get a winner here. Hard to say if I'm being serious or not. I mean, who do you guys think the quarterback is? Okay, here's the question. Who do you think the quarterback is week 1 for the Cardinals? And who do you think the quarterback is week 17 for the Cardinals? Week 1 is who? Week 17 is who? I don't know. It's hard for me to think that it's Jacoby. Like very, very hard for me to think that it's Jacoby. It could be. It could be, but man, Jacoby was really, really bad. Neil, you're not lying. You are not lying. It is kind of tough to do these one at a time. I am so used to doing like 900. I can reliably do 10 at a time on my phone. So it definitely is slowing down a little bit to do one at a time. Phil Rivers week 1. I'd rather watch Jacoby play than Kyler. Yes, Vaporware, you're right. It did not give me another one. All right, we're going to try another Josh Allen build here. Someone not on the team yet. 2026. So the thing about a 2026 third overall pick is that there is no one good for them to pick there. because Mendoza and Dante Moore are going to be off the board. So you don't have anyone to pick there. So it's more likely to be a like day 3 guy, like Ty. Yeah, there you go, like Ty Simpson. How few RBs is too little on a team with Cook? I would want on a team with Cook at least one good NFC running back. So Jacobs or Swift or Walker or Sharbs, someone like that. Brad Allen is reffing the Bills-Jags game. Who is Vegas rigging the game for? I don't know who that is. All right, so we've got Allen. Adams gives us, I mean, Bills-Rams. I maybe don't have this pairing of players yet. All right, let's see what we can do here. What non-rookie quarterback without a current job goes highest on the big board? Yeah, probably Malik Willis signing with the Dolphins goes in like round 13 or something. Where does here's a good one. Who does Tua Tagovailoa playing for next year? I've not thought about that at all. Who would even want Tua? And Tua's owed a bunch of money. I hadn't even started because obviously he's not going to be the Dolphins quarterback anymore. Where is that dude going to go? Yeah. We are trying another Josh Allen team. I guess Tua could go to Minnesota. Tua could definitely go to Minnesota. Diggs and Trevion, I'm not loving it. Not loving the options here. All right, we're gonna go with God though, because I don't see where the sidekick is leading me. So let's just see. Daniel Jones. Well, Daniel Jones probably is not going to play very much next year because he has a destroyed Achilles. He tore his Achilles tendon in week 11. So Daniel Jones probably is not playing next year. You know what? It does feel like Tua and the Jets just feel like a match made in heaven. Tua somewhere warm and in a dome. Cardinals. The team that had to attach a pick was Brock Osweiler. Wasn't it Brock? It was the Texans, and it was Brock Osweiler, who then ended up starting and winning. Not starting, but came in relief in a Super Bowl for Peyton Manning and won, right? But it was the Texans traded him to the Browns and had to attach a pick. I don't think Tua's going to the Rams. All right. Well, here we are back. You know what? And let's just succumb to what we knew was all going to happen as this turns into another Packers team. Yeah, we can do a playoff bracket prediction. NFL playoff bracket. Is there like one that'll let me fill it out somewhere? Yeah, but we can do that next up here. Yeah, Bengals keeping Zach Taylor is just horribly bad. Like, what are we trying to accomplish? He'll be the 9 muse. I mean, the Vikings need a good backup quarterback for sure. I don't know. The Falcons cannot be paying more money for another backup quarterback. They already have the most expensive backup quarterback in football. Wow, I have not seen this pop up. I do not believe I have seen Jacobs and Swift together in the same build. Why does the sidekick always just start stacking different teams? You have to, because the sidekick is not operating from a perspective that the only thing that matters is having your 5-5 or your 4-2-2 or whatever. The sidekick is trying to maximize your EV, and sometimes it thinks the maximization of expected value happens via advancing in round 1. Sometimes it's in doing a full Packers stack. Like it's just going to do a lot of mixing. The exact opposite of this would be true. The Super Bowls it builds are going to project for a lot of points. You could maybe say its avenue to get there would be a little thin. I'm taking Kincaid over the NFC wide receivers because that should actually help it with this Packers build. Taylor definitely does not deserve to be the Bengals coach. His teams are never prepared. He makes like every bad decision. Zach Taylor is a terrible coach. Like he basically does everything wrong all the time. We're going to take Christian Watson and then maybe we get Burden and maybe we don't. Stefanski to the Cardinals would be pretty fun. I agree with that. All right, so what do we got here? We have 2 Bills. We have Allen, Jacobs, Adams, Diggs is our advance rate piece, Kincaid, Swift. So this team either ends up becoming a full Packers team or a full Bears team, probably depending on what is available to us up next. Interesting that it's got Loveland with Swift, I guess, setting up a Bills-Bears Super Bowl potentially with Jordan Love. No, the side you can, if you think about it, you can see what it's building, and it's building a Packers-Bills Super Bowl where the Bills pieces, or it's building a Bills, Packers, or Bills Bears. So now that Burden is gone, that helps us. That gives us a little bit more information. So now we can take Jordan Love, and because Burden is gone and we just took Jordan Love, there we go. Yep. So now Loveland drops out of the queue, and now we build the best possible Packers-Bills Super Bowl. So we don't have James Cook, but we have Josh Jacobs. We have Kincaid. We don't have Shakir, but I mean, let's just be all real. That doesn't matter. And now we are going to take Jaden Reed. So for the Packers, we have Jacobs, we have Watson, we have Love, we have Reed, we have Kincaid. We can take a Josh Palmer on this team. Honestly, this team, you probably take Ty Johnson actually to do that there. The Browns front office was a little bit high on their own supply because they thought they had such a good draft. The Bengals front office having Burrow, Chase, and Higgins over and over and not getting an offensive line. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. So, because if we had Ty Johnson on this team, I'm trying to think if there's another. Well, what we could do is actually we could add a Rams tight end. So if we had Higbee here, because we have one, I guess because we don't have a running back, so we don't have Corum. So adding Higbee doesn't actually really do much for us. I kind of want to do it though. Because can we get to a Rams Bills? Not with any of the good pieces. Yeah, not with any of the good pieces. So we do Dubs. So we now have 5 Packers. Oh, okay. Higbee is still up there. Okay, that is interesting. I didn't think it would. So if your sidekick is going to consistently be recommending DK Metcalf to you, that probably means that you are quite often light at wide receiver based on my experience of drafting with it. So let's do Higbee here. And if we do Higbee, can we get it to give us Ty Johnson? Nope, Luke Musgrave. Isn't Ty Johnson the nutted pick here, though? Because we have 1 Bill, 2 Bill. We have 1 Ram. We have 2 Ram. No, it's not. It's actually just another Packer. Well, whatever. Yeah, you only need 6 playable. There you go. So we've got, how many Packers do we have? We have 1 Packer, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we had 1 more Packer in. We have a full Packers Bills, and actually a full Packers Patriots with Diggs as our option, and then Adams just becomes an advance rate piece. Those first second round pairings are just getting trickier and trickier actually as these drafts continue. It's becoming harder and harder to get to these. It's getting harder and harder, honestly, to find first and second round pairings that like make a ton of sense in those middle slots, where a lot of the times you are actually just Luke Musgrave. Bang. Who, by the way, it's kind of neither here nor there. So in the end, this team was Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Dalton Kincaid, DeAndre Swift, Christian Watson, Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Tyler Higbee, and Luke Musgrave. So that team is dead without the Packers getting there. Like many of the teams that I've drafted, actually. All right. I wanted to look at what tight end played for the Packers yesterday, because that might give us a little bit of a hint in terms of what they care about at the position in the postseason. So in the 16-3 loss, I need snap counts. Snap counts for the Packers. Drake Dabney, Josh Wiley, and then Luke Musgrave barely played. Okay. All right. So Luke Musgrave, based on the results of that stuff yesterday, would seem to suggest to me that they view him as the starter. And here we go. We get to draft out of the 1 hole. Did my big mitten earlier and sidekick gave me a 3-3-4. Rescue me, sidekick. Well, why did it give you a 3-3-4? Because you can't make a mistake and IKB the sidekick and then say rescue me, because you got to know what you're putting in. All right, this guy to my right, shout out to him, King in the North Skull. I just remember thinking that was a cool username. He beat me in a head-to-head yesterday, so good for him. Boom. All right. You did not IKB. Well, I mean, sometimes that's the room. Doing a little bit of Swolecast organizational planning, by the way, making sure that you guys are able to still have your beloved Swolecast. All right. Puka Nakua at the 101. I beat everyone in head-to-heads yesterday. Hell yeah. Good for you, brother. I did not. I think I lost. I guess what? If I entered $1,298 and I got 700 some dollars back, but I lost all my 109s. Cook May sniped on New England. Hurts Devonta. All the Eagles gone. Hey, Chicago stack is a good backdoor. Can't be mad about the backdoor there. All right, so we've got, man, I want this one to go in such a way. This would be, you don't get it very often, but it is so nice. I've only gotten it one time where I've gotten Puka, Adams, Kyron, then Stafford, and then 2 Rams tight ends. But that is, I mean, obviously that is my number one way to go. Also, yeah, I'm just trying to get the 3-person final. I will honestly, I will probably do that draft myself today. I mean, how close are we to how close is the old mitten to filling over there? Cuz I will probably get that done at some point today. Lot of drafts to get done. How should I feel about having literally 0 Jaguars and a boatload of Bills teams? I mean, I don't know. Are you located in the greater North New York area? If so, you should probably feel very good. I would say you should feel good about that. Or if you're located in Southern Florida, probably really bad. Really, really a matter of perspective on that one. All right, May goes, Allen goes, fuck, Adams goes. All right, so we are going to be competing for the Rams players on the other side, which is worth noting, right? Definitely worth noting on that. Fuck, Stafford goes too. All right, so we are in a total chaos room. So Puka has now become our advance rate piece. We are almost actively rooting against a Rams Super Bowl here. I guess let's take Kyron and then see. Is it going to tell me to take ETN or is it going to tell me to take Nico? All right, Nico Collins. Let's see. I've not done this start yet. Northern Florida, right? Miami's Southern Florida. Okay. Even if you're all Bills, you can get BTJ as a last round pick as an advance rate piece. Yeah, this could be. I almost thought there it might be better to not take Kyron and actually take ETN, and then I could have set up those two. That honestly maybe would have been even better 10-minute. Because this room is crazy. I mean, this guy directly to my right is drafting appropriately, but the Barkley Stafford drafter has no clue. We'll see what King Dumdy does here, but at least one guy in our draft has no clue. And it's always hard to deal with someone who has no clue. How should I feel about having a metric shit ton of Jags teams and very little Bills? I mean, honestly, I would say that's scarier, right? Because if the Bills get hot, I think that you can kind of think of playoff football how we think of playoff hockey. I don't know if you guys watch hockey, but in playoff hockey, there's kind of this old maxim that if your goalie gets hot, the far inferior team can beat the superior team. Happens all the time in hockey. And the corollary there for football is if you have the best quarterback that gets hot, what are you going to do? Like if Josh Allen is just Superman, it doesn't really matter. Like they can easily beat the Texans, easily beat the Jaguars, easily beat the Broncos, easily beat the Patriots. If Josh Allen just goes, all in on being Josh, it's definitely the prices on the Jags players for most of these have been really appropriate, but Jags players are expensive now in playoff best ball. I mean, I tend to agree. Yeah, this is the worst iteration that we've seen of the Bills, but even the worst iteration of the Bills still has Josh Allen. I do not watch UFC. I don't. I mean, not. I don't have anything. I don't have anything against it, but I just don't really. I don't know. It's just not really for me, which is fine, man. Not everything has to be for you, Davis, and that's okay. So it's a good thing to learn about life is that not everything has to be about you. Hard lesson to learn, but that's the way she goes. Now, if I take Jacobs here, is it still going to want me to take Trevor Lawrence? That I don't know. Is it still going to want me to take Lawrence? Nope, that's what I thought. Watson, probably a little early for Watson. Could I do another? Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to bring in. Does it make sense to bring in another AFC piece, maybe? Yeah, you know what? Let's take Lad. Let's take Lad and then build in another AFC maybe and see what happens. Yes. Also isn't UFC on at like midnight? No chance. The spread of Seahawks Packers, probably Seahawks by 4.5, maybe something like that. Yes, this is easily the worst iteration of AFC competition for the Bills. That's definitely true. Are CMC, JSN, and Puka lock buttons for every playoff challenge team? I could definitely see taking Kittle over CMC. I could definitely see Adams over Puka just for leverage. But yeah, and also Texans DST is going to be really owned. Just did a grueling inventory count in the middle of nowhere. Now I'm watching a playoff best ball stream. I mean, is there anything, I say this as a fellow consumer of streams, but is there anything nicer than when you open your YouTube app and someone that you like to watch is live? It like I don't know. I just know I know like when like for me a great thing is when I sit down to have my lunch, you know, I'm sitting down to eat my chicken and rice and I pop open my phone and you know, the new Sam Sulek video just posted and I'm like, great. Perfect. I can sit, I can eat my lunch, I can have a nice time. Perfect. Fairbairn over the Texans DST. I don't think the field will treat it that way, Mike. Which is not to say that you shouldn't do it, but yeah, I think that's interesting. How do you feel about drafting worse versions of the same team? I've gotten this exact same team out of the 2-hole plus James Cook. I think that pod luck plays such a huge role that I don't. Obviously, you're not aiming to draft worse versions of the team, but we'll take Watson, and then we're gonna take Love, I think. Or do I really? I could really try and push it and take Hampton. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to. No guts, no glory, folks. Curious what you think of the chances of the Bills going to the Super Bowl, but being so bad in fantasy points that fewer foolish Bills. Well, I mean, Josh is not going to have bad. If the Bills make the Super Bowl, Josh will be the guy you need to have. Do I know the age demographic of my viewers? Yeah, they're all between 25 and 45. Like 85% of you guys are between 25 and 45. Like 99.9% in the United States. I had no Sodi hot takes. I was all Jocelyn, top to bottom. You trade Flip El Toro, you win Skater of the Year. Easy peasy. How many Super Bowl combinations are you doing? Are you eliminating certain scenarios or teams? I probably, other than like Steelers, Panthers. Yeah, I'm not really drafting very many Panthers. I'm not really drafting very many not drafting many Panthers, not drafting many Steelers. I'm really overweight on the Jags. I'm probably a little bit underweight on the Chargers. Yeah, I mean there are many Bills tertiary pieces you can take. Yeah, just don't know. Yeah. Well, are 80% of you guys interested in the Roman Empire? I certainly am interested in the Roman Empire. I think about the Roman Empire every day, but I don't know. Like I know that was like a meme on TikTok or whatever, but I don't know how true it rings IRL. All right, so we played this one pretty good. So we're going to take Jordan Love, and then I assume it's going to have us take Justin Herbert. Jaden Reed, no. Who are we more likely to get sniped on? Jaden Reed or Herbert? Probably Jaden Reed, but if we get Herbert, that would be a nice treat. I also just realized I don't have a tight end. Super Bowl equity means the world to me. That means the Chargers equal the 49ers in my book. I get it. I get it. I'm just a little bit higher on the I'm just a little bit higher on the 49ers than the market. Would you have had a chance to build a bear workshop this one? Yeah, because I could have done Jacobs instead of Lad McConkey here. But what I did is I added in another, and I can still add in another Super Bowl if I take Herbert if he doesn't go. When you take Allen, are you then doing one quarterback? Honestly, most of the time, no, because you end up with the ability to do a full Packers or a full Bears. All right. So, because what I'm telling you, what I want to do here is I want to take Herbert and then Gadsden, then Musgrave. I think that's what I'm trying to accomplish here. Well, if I take, so if I okay. If I take Gadsden and it still tells me to take Musgrave, then I will. But if I take Gadsden and it tells me to take Herbert, I will also do that. So we'll do Gadsden. And then is it going to tell me to take Musgrave or is it going to tell me to take Herbert? It's got them equal. So we're going to take Herbert and then we got Musgrave in the queue. So Musgrave is obviously really important. And then Dubs. Probably won't do much PGA best ball just because I don't really understand the rules. I do, but I don't. People seem to be off the Bills. I mean, yeah, get as many Allen Cooks as you can. How do I feel about Gainwell and Tet as one-off advancement pieces? I feel better about Gainwell than I do Tet. No, I was not taking any Steelers before yesterday, and I'm not even really trying to take Steelers now. We are living in the end of the days of the new Roman Empire. Well, the United States was never really the Roman Empire. We thought we were. You can't just say the word Senate and think that you're the Roman Empire. All right, so if we do Musgrave, because we've got Love, we've got Jacobs, we've got Watson, Hampton, Reed, we've got Herbert, Hampton, and Ladd. So this gives us really it was the Nico piece that ended up kind of out of place here. There you go. Yeah, I tend to agree that there's a 0% chance the Steelers make it past the divisional round. But what can you do? All right, let's take Musgrave or Reno. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. Stay. So Love, Kyron, Puka, Nico, Gadsden, Jacobs, Ladd. So we do have a Rams Chargers actually, because we have Herbert, Hampton, Ladd, Gadsden with Puka and Kyron. And then we have a full Packers. So we have Love, Jacobs, Watson, Reed, Musgrave with, oh no, we're one short. All right, boys, that's going to do it for me. I'll, of course, be back with all you guys tomorrow. Make sure that you like the video. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel for daily fantasy football videos. And thank you